Hello there, and welcome. Tonight, we are drifting quietly into the story of a single, extraordinary number: pi. This number is simple, yet infinite. It moves through circles, through waves, through the rhythm of life itself. It has quietly shaped the world around us, and even the world within us. Long before anyone gave it a name, it existed. Hidden in the turning of the wheel, in the rising of the moon, in the gentle cycles of seasons, it waited, patiently, repeating its quiet pattern, again and again. From the earliest humans who traced circles in stone, to scholars writing by candlelight, to the quiet observations of the stars, this number has always been present, threading its way through time. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, you are welcome to subscribe or leave a thought below. Your presence helps others find this calm space, one sleepy mind at a time. But for now, allow your shoulders to soften, let your breathing slow, and let your mind drift as we wander together through the quiet, endless story of pi. There has always been a quiet presence in the world, one that drifts along the edges of human thought and observation, moving softly as the days fold into night. It was there before it had a name, before there were symbols to mark it, before words could shape it into something spoken aloud. It moved in gentle, enduring curves, in the sweep of circles traced upon the earth, the sky, and the hands of those who noticed. It has lingered quietly in the roundness of stone wheels, in the slow turning of pottery, in the silent arcs of rivers, and in the subtle patterns of stars that cross the night sky. This presence was pi, an eternal companion to every careful measure, every soft observation, every patient turn of thought. It has always been there, steady and unhurried, touching the edges of time without fanfare, without urgency, quietly reminding the world of the gentle cycles that endure beyond each single life. Long ago, when fire was a new and delicate flame, there were those who shaped clay into bowls and jars. Their hands pressed the soft earth, molding and folding it in repeated arcs. Each turn of the wheel was quiet, measured, almost imperceptible. It returned always to the same point, a motion familiar and comforting. Pi moved there, present in the curve of each vessel, guiding the shape without revealing itself, accompanying each careful stroke. The air was still in the evening, with only the soft flicker of firelight tracing shadows across the walls. And in the curve of every jar, every bowl, every vessel, there was a quiet echo of something older than speech, older than memory, a subtle continuity that wrapped itself around the hands of those who had long watched, long felt, the recurring patterns of their world. In the soft darkness, pi followed the stars as well. Long before names were given to constellations, the night sky arched gently above the earth, unchanging in its quiet rhythm. Points of light traced familiar circles night after night, rising and falling in arcs across the heavens, carrying an order that could be felt as much as seen. Those who lay beneath the sky noticed, in the slow turning of the stars, in the patient return of familiar lights, the soft, gentle presence of something enduring. Pi was there, invisible, threading the heavens with its eternal motion, a silent companion to every quiet moment of observation. Its rhythm moved without effort, without need for recognition, carrying with it the calm, cyclical pulse that would one day be recorded and named, yet even then it would remain far older than any word could contain. The presence of Pi flowed through early measures and markings. On some warmed clay tablets, soft impressions left by careful fingers hinted at shapes that returned again and again, tracing arcs with delicate precision. It moved through the hands of scribes and observers who recorded the patterns of rivers, the circumference of circular enclosures, the gentle sweep of wheels that had turned for countless days. In every soft impression, there was a quiet, persistent order. No one needed to name it for it to matter, for it to exist. It lingered silently in the background of human thought, as steady and calm as the slow, rhythmic breathing of a resting body. The world itself seemed to move in recognition of it, unconsciously echoing the recurring curves, the eternal arcs, the endless, patient unfolding of its quiet life. In ancient temples, Pi rested in the roundness of stone pillars, in the gentle curves carved into walls, in the sweep of circular courtyards. Sunlight fell in arcs upon these forms, moving slowly across the surface as the day passed. Shadows stretched and receded, tracing the same gentle cycles that had always existed, cycles that would endure long after the temples were silent. Priests and observers, perhaps unaware of the deeper presence, traced the circles with their eyes and hands, noticing the symmetry, the quiet balance. And Pi was there, patiently, unhurried, resting lightly in the curves that mirrored the movements of the heavens above. It was a companion to all who paused in quiet reflection, a silent witness to the slow and steady unfolding of day and night. In the rolling hills and along the banks of rivers, the quiet life of Pi continued in soft, enduring arcs. Water traced the curves of its course, bending around stones, forming gentle loops, carrying with it a pattern older than memory. Trees grew in recurring forms, their branches curling in subtle circles, leaves following a gentle rhythm in the wind. Even in the motion of animals, in the sweep of a bird's wings, in the turning of a wheel or the flow of a stream, there was the quiet, constant presence of Pi. It was not loud or insistent, but it was everywhere, threading continuity through the small and simple moments of life, a calm and enduring companion in every gentle movement of the world. Time folded itself softly in the presence of Pi. The moon rose and fell in its arc, moving across the sky with patient consistency, casting gentle light on the land below. Its reflection on still waters formed subtle circles, ripples radiating outward in delicate, concentric arcs. Fields shifted slowly with the seasons, each year returning again to familiar points of growth and rest, light and shadow. The wind whispered over hills, bending grass in repeated curves, as if tracing the hidden paths that Pi had always known. Every element, every soft motion, carried the quiet rhythm forward, never rushing, never fading, simply continuing, returning again and again to its own gentle pulse. In small villages, the quiet life of Pi was reflected in human hands in simple crafts. Clay bowls turned on wheels, edges carefully traced by patient fingers. Rope woven into baskets curved gently, each strand following the natural rhythm of its neighbor. Wood carved into gentle arcs, stone cut into circles, each form carrying a subtle echo of the eternal presence. Lanterns glowed softly on windowsills, casting round pools of light on the cobblestones below. The streets, quiet and still, curved gently as they followed the natural shapes of the land, creating soft, unhurried loops that mirrored the larger circles of sky and stone. The rhythm was present everywhere, resting lightly upon daily life, unnoticed yet faithful, a quiet companion that endured beyond the span of any single day. In workshops and quiet study rooms, Pi rested on the pages of careful observation. Ink on parchment traced arcs, soft curves drawn with deliberate care. Scrolls rolled gently into cylinders, edges tracing repeating circles as they moved. Observers bent over manuscripts in lamplight, turning pages in a gentle, cyclical motion. Their thoughts flowed quietly along with the curves on the page, echoing the enduring presence that had always existed. Pi did not hurry, it did not interrupt. It simply rested, patient, calm, present in every gentle motion, every fold, every curve, every soft repetition of line and shape. Even in distant lands and under foreign skies, the life of Pi persisted. It traced the form of circular temples, domes, and enclosures. It moved through the careful measurement of lands and waters, across stone walls, through arches and windows that curved into the air. Rivers traced the same gentle arcs, winds curled through canopies of trees and quiet loops. The moon moved above, its steady path repeating with patient grace. Across every landscape, in every gentle gesture, Pi was there, unmarked, unhurried, a constant companion to the enduring cycles of night and day, stone and water, sky and earth. The earliest observers, though they did not yet know its name, felt its presence in the sweep of arcs and circles, in the subtle repetition that echoed across the lands. Clay tablets, stone monuments, carved pottery, all bore witness to this quiet companion, and it rested in each of these forms with patient stillness. Each observation, each gentle motion, each folding of material into arcs reflected the silent rhythm of Pi. Its presence was soft but faithful, neither demanding attention nor absent from notice. It carried the comfort of continuity, a gentle reassurance that no matter how fleeting the moment, the enduring rhythm persisted, folded into the curves and circles of the world. Through centuries, the quiet life of Pi followed human hands, moving softly across the lines of measurement, the turning of pottery, the folding of paper, the tracing of circles in dust or sand. It flowed through the study of stars, the arc of the moon, the orbit of planets, always present in the silent recognition of recurring form. Even before it had a name, it rested lightly on the edges of human observation, a gentle companion to every quiet thought, every careful action, every patient unfolding of day into night. It was steady, calming, and familiar, like the slow turning of a wheel, the rise and fall of the tides, the repetition of breath and sleep. And so the night deepened. Shadows stretched across hills and valleys, soft and unhurried. Rivers shimmered in pale moonlight, tracing quiet loops along their course. Trees swayed gently, leaves curling and uncurling in patient arcs. Inside homes, lamps glimmered, casting round pools of light onto simple objects, bowls, and vessels shaped with gentle care. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting in their ink pots, pages curling in slow repetition. All of it moved in harmony with the quiet presence that had always been there, tracing arcs, circles, and gentle loops that carried the steady pulse of time. Pi rested in all these forms, faithful, calm, invisible, enduring, a companion that required no attention, no recognition, only a quiet awareness of its steady, endless life, moving softly through every curve, every circle, every gentle fold of the world. The moon continued to cast silver arcs across the sleeping land, soft and unbroken, touching every stone, every vessel, every scroll. Shadows traced gentle circles along the ground, light bending softly with the earth's slow rotation. Trees, rivers, and hills moved in quiet harmony with the presence that had always been there. Every motion, small and unhurried, echoed the enduring rhythm, the patient, invisible companion that rested in all curves, all circles, all arcs, and all soft repetitions of form. And in this quiet, the world could rest, calm and steady, folding gently into the slow, enduring life of Pi, where each motion, each fold, each soft circle, continued seamlessly into the next, carrying its quiet, faithful presence across the endless night. The quiet life of Pi continued to unfold as centuries passed, moving softly alongside human hands and minds, ever present, ever patient. In the lands of sun-warmed stones and rolling hills, Pi rested in the sweep of early observation, folding gently into the lives of those who sought to measure, to understand, yet never hurried or demanded attention. Its presence was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet faithful and enduring, threading through the small gestures of careful counting, the gentle tracing of arcs, the measured turning of instruments and wheels. It rested in the background, a silent companion, moving along the edges of awareness, present in the soft repetition of circles, arcs, and curves that emerged across the lands and the night skies alike. In the quiet towns along the Nile, where the river moved slowly between fields of papyrus and mud brick walls, Pi rested in the hands of those who observed, who traced the outlines of shapes and forms. Their fingers pressed into clay, gently pressing the soft substance into bowls and vessels, measuring, smoothing, noticing the gentle curvature of each edge. The sun rose and fell in patient arcs, casting light along the walls and floors in long, recurring shadows. Pi moved in these patterns, invisible yet faithful, folding itself into the soft arcs of river bends, the gentle roundness of stone and clay, the slow repetition of observation repeated day after day. It did not need recognition, it simply was, and in its being, it offered a quiet, enduring continuity. The first written impressions of Pi emerged in subtle, almost unnoticeable marks pressed into clay tablets. Fingers traced repeated curves, not for fame or discovery, but simply as part of the calm work of recording, of marking the arc of a circle upon the surface of the world. These impressions were small, gentle, and precise. In them, Pi rested quietly, folding itself into the shapes and motions of human care and attention. Each arc pressed into clay echoed the quiet patterns of the night sky, the curve of riverbanks, the gentle sweep of wheels, the circle of a bowl, or ring of stone, or a round enclosure in the open land. It was present in all these forms, faithful and patient, a companion to the soft, enduring motions that marked time in slow, recurring cycles. In the shaded courtyards of Babylon, Pi lingered in the sweep of arches and the curves of masonry. Builders and observers worked patiently, tracing lines and measuring distances, their hands moving in gentle repetition. Stones were placed, aligned, pressed into shape, following subtle curves that mirrored the arcs of the heavens above. Pi rested in each motion, present yet unseen, a quiet companion to every small act of observation. The sun's light fell in predictable arcs, tracing shadows across walls and floors, moving slowly, faithfully, as it had always done. And as human hands traced, measured, and observed, Pi followed, folding into every soft, recurring curve, every gentle sweep of form, present in the calm persistence of the world's motion. In early Greece, the quiet life of Pi continued softly in the observation of circles, spheres, and gentle arcs. Scholars and thinkers traced the outline of shapes upon sand, papyrus, and stone, observing the endless recurrence of curves in the forms of their world. The stars moved patiently overhead, following arcs that echoed the gentle repetition seen on Earth. Pi rested in these observations, faithful and enduring, threading itself through the motions of measurement and reflection. It did not hurry, it did not demand notice. It simply moved alongside the careful hands and quiet minds that paused to observe, quietly folding itself into the continuity of circles traced in the dust, traced in clay, traced in the motions of careful thought. In the gentle rhythm of a quiet evening, Pi could be found in the sweep of a potter's wheel in Athens. The wheel spun slowly beneath patient hands, molding soft clay into rounded vessels, each turn an echo of the eternal companion. Light from a simple lamp fell across the curves, casting gentle shadows and soft highlights, tracing the arcs that had always been present in the world. The hands of the potter moved in subtle repetition, returning over and over to the same circular path, smooth and steady. In this repetition, there was a quiet comfort, a reflection of the enduring presence that had moved silently alongside humanity for countless generations. Pi rested in each curve, each gentle fold of clay, each quiet turn, patient, faithful, always there. Across the Mediterranean, on quiet hills where olive trees bent in slow arcs and the sea traced endless curves along the shore, Pi lingered in the motions of careful measurement and gentle observation. Travelers, merchants, and scholars traced lines in sand or marked soft impressions on clay, unconsciously following the rhythm of circles, arcs, and recurring patterns. Their hands, careful and patient, carried the echoes of forms that had existed long before, forms that would continue long after. Pi rested in these simple gestures, faithful and silent, a presence that required no recognition, only the quiet awareness of repetition and form. It was a companion to the soft, enduring cycles of human activity and natural movement, threading continuity across centuries, across lands, across the still, endless night. In the quiet of libraries and study rooms, manuscripts began to carry gentle records of Pi, though its name was not yet known. Lines traced arcs across papyrus, edges curled softly in the light of the lamp, shadows falling in gentle curves on walls and floors. The presence moved among these soft impressions, resting lightly on the hand of every observer, companion to the patient tracing, the repeated folding, the quiet observation that was neither hurried nor pressured. Each arc, each circle, each soft recurrence was part of the enduring life of Pi, a presence that had always been there, threading itself through careful attention, tracing the gentle paths of recurring forms, in the soft, quiet pulse of human awareness. Time continued to flow gently. The moon followed its calm, patient path across the night sky, casting arcs of silver over hills, rivers, and villages. Stars traced circles across the darkened sky, soft and unbroken, folding into their familiar patterns night after night. Rivers curved gently around stones, trees swayed in arcs repeated across seasons, the wind whispered through leaves in circular rhythms, and the earth itself moved in the quiet, steady rotation that shaped day and night. Pi rested in all of it, an unseen companion to the slow, recurring arcs, the gentle repetition of form. It was faithful and enduring, present in every quiet, unhurried motion, patient as the turning of time itself. In quiet villages, the life of Pi threaded through the small gestures of daily existence. Bowls turned on wheels in soft arcs, baskets wove themselves into gentle, recurring patterns, threads folding in arcs that mirrored the shapes of the world beyond the walls. Streets curved softly along the contours of land, lanes folding into one another, stones tracing gentle arcs along the edges of squares and courtyards. Inside homes, lamps cast soft circles of light on walls and floors, and shadows traced quiet, repeating curves. The rhythm of daily life, slow and steady, was accompanied by Pi, present in the smallest folds and gentle repetitions, resting lightly yet persistently in the motions of human hands and eyes. Even in distant lands and along the edge of forests, rivers, and mountains, the quiet presence of Pi endured. Children playing in the dust traced arcs with sticks, unaware of the ancient companion moving alongside them. Farmers measured the sweep of plow blades through soil, following gentle curves that reflected the world's natural rhythm. Travelers rested beneath trees, watching the circular motions of leaves in the wind, the recurring shapes of river bends, the soft arcs of clouds overhead. In every place, in every movement, Pi was present, faithful and calm, a silent companion that moved without recognition, without demand, yet present in every recurring form, every soft curve, every circle traced by human hands or shaped by the earth itself. In the quiet study of early thinkers, Pi rested in gentle calculations, though it remained unnamed, unmarked by symbols, unseen but present. It threaded through every careful observation, every patient tracing of lines and curves. Arches and circles, the sweep of wheels and spheres, the gentle tracing of shadows in the light, all of it carried the quiet presence of Pi. It did not demand notice or attention, but it was always there, faithful and calm, a companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of human thought and observation. Each soft arc, each gentle curve, each recurring shape was part of its enduring life, threading continuity across time and space, across hands and minds, across the quiet night and the gentle motion of day. The long night stretched on, silvered by the soft glow of the moon. Shadows lengthened and folded, tracing arcs along hills and valleys. Rivers shimmered in gentle, repeated curves, reflecting the pale light. Trees bent with the wind, leaves curling in subtle circles, moving in quiet, recurrent rhythm. Inside homes, lamps cast round pools of light on floors and objects, gentle arcs traced in shadow and glow. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting softly in ink pots, edges curling in repeated arcs. In all of it, the quiet life of Pi continued, faithful and steady, resting lightly in every curve, every circle, every gentle repetition of form. It was patient, calm, invisible, and enduring, a companion that had always been there, folding itself seamlessly into the long, recurring, quiet rhythm of the world. The quiet life of Pi continued through the ages, moving softly through the hands and minds of those who observed the world with patience and care. Its presence was gentle, ever-present, threading itself into the arcs traced by human fingers, the curves of vessels, the sweep of river bends, the roundness of celestial paths above. It moved quietly alongside those who measured, observed, and reflected, faithful but unseen, folding itself into every motion and every gentle repetition of form. It was neither hurried nor insistent, it simply existed, like the soft glow of the moon on a still night, casting silver arcs across the land, across the soft curve of hills and valleys, across the calm and careful lives of those who noticed its quiet pulse. In the lands of Greece, Pi found companions among those who traced its subtle presence in stone and sand. Scholars and observers, their hands steady, their eyes following the curves of circles and spheres, noticed patterns without naming them, recording observations on papyrus and in dust. The arcs traced by their instruments, the gentle folds of lines upon the page, mirrored the quiet repetition of the night sky, where stars moved in patient arcs overhead. Pi rested in these forms, faithful, calm, enduring. It threaded through the sweep of a compass, the soft turning of a hand along a curve, the careful folding of lines in quiet study. It was present in every subtle repetition, every gentle echo of the circular shapes that had always existed and would always continue. Archimedes, whose hands and mind moved in careful reflection, felt the presence of Pi in the gentle tracing of arcs and circles, in the smooth, rounded forms of the objects he studied. He did not need to hurry. His work was patient, deliberate, rhythmic. Each curve traced in sand, each line drawn upon papyrus, folded quietly into the long, calm life of Pi. It accompanied him silently, present in every soft repetition, every unfolding form, every gentle observation that extended the quiet understanding of the world's curves. In the sweep of geometric thought, in the arcs of spheres and the circles of wheels, in the soft tracing of shadows on walls, Pi rested faithfully, a companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of thought and time. Across the Mediterranean, in quiet courtyards and along sun-warmed terraces, scholars and observers traced the outlines of circles, measuring, observing, and reflecting. Their hands moved gently over clay, stone, and parchment, folding lines into recurring arcs. The wind whispered over terraces, moving leaves in subtle spirals, tracing gentle circles in the dust. Rivers curved slowly, bending around stones, tracing arcs that echoed the forms observed by patient eyes. Pi rested in all of it, unseen yet faithful, threading continuity through the small and quiet motions of life. It moved with the gentle cadence of the day, present in each repeated motion, each return to the same shape, each soft tracing of form. In Alexandria, Pi lingered in the calm halls of study, in libraries where papyrus sheets were unrolled and slowly examined. Scholars bent over manuscripts, tracing curves with steady fingers, following arcs again and again. The light fell softly across the pages, illuminating the gentle folds of the text, casting long, quiet shadows that curved in harmony with the forms traced upon them. In these small gestures, Pi rested lightly yet persistently, a companion to the calm, unhurried attention that flowed through generations of observers. It was present in every delicate tracing, every repeated line, every patient fold of knowledge, faithful and constant, neither hurried nor distant, simply enduring, quietly threaded into the gentle rhythm of study and observation. Outside, the world continued its soft, unbroken rhythm. The sun moved across the sky in gentle arcs, casting shadows that lengthened and receded in predictable patterns. The moon traced its patient course, silver light spilling across hills, rivers, and villages, touching the rounded forms of bowls and jars, the gentle folds of stone, the curved lines of walls and terraces. Rivers flowed slowly, their surfaces reflecting arcs of light and shadow, folding again and again along the bends of their course. Trees bend in arcs with the soft wind, leaves curling in gentle circles, moving in subtle repetition. In all of these motions, Pi rested, a quiet, patient companion, threading continuity through the recurring forms of the world, faithful to every gentle curve and soft arc. In the quiet of the night, when the streets of towns were hushed and lamps glowed softly in windows, Pi could be felt in the calm, enduring arcs of daily life. Bowls rested on wooden tables, their edges tracing repeated circles in the soft lamplight. Threads were woven in gentle, recurring patterns, ropes braided in loops, baskets folded into arcs that echoed the forms of the surrounding world. Wheels turned slowly on carts, tracing circles that mirrored the curves of the earth beneath them. The rhythm was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet present in every movement, every fold, every curve. Pi rested in these motions, calm and enduring, faithful to the quiet continuity of life as it unfolded, day into night, night into day, and across the years that stretched into centuries. In the quietude of study and reflection, observers traced the outlines of spheres and circles, following the gentle arcs with steady hands and patient minds. Each measurement, each careful observation, echoed the silent rhythm of the world, reflected in the motion of rivers, the curve of hills, the subtle bend of branches and leaves. Pi moved softly alongside these motions, folding itself into the repeated patterns, the gentle repetitions of form that had always existed and would continue to endure. It required no notice, no explanation, only the quiet attention of those who paused to observe, to trace, to reflect, to fold their awareness into the arcs that had long carried its patient presence. Through the centuries, the quiet life of Pi threaded through the growing knowledge of the world. It moved through the hands of scribes copying manuscripts, through scholars observing spheres and circles, through the gentle tracing of arcs in sand, dust, and clay. Each act, however small, echoed the soft, enduring presence of this timeless companion. Pi rested in the rhythm of repeated observation, in the calm attention of careful hands, in the patient tracing of form, faithful and constant. It carried the quiet assurance of continuity, a gentle reminder that every motion, every fold, every curve, every arc was part of a longer, unbroken rhythm that stretched across time and space. Even in distant lands, where scholars observed circles in gardens, on terraces, and along riverbanks, Pi continued its quiet presence. The wind traced soft arcs in the dust, the waves of rivers formed subtle circles along their edges, leaves bent in gentle spirals. Lamps cast circular shadows across floors and walls, pottery wheels spun slowly under careful hands, and manuscripts lay open with curves of ink tracing arcs across their pages. Pi rested in every motion, every repetition, every fold of form, faithful and patient, invisible yet enduring. It moved alongside human observation, a quiet companion to the soft rhythms of life, threading continuity through the recurring curves of both the natural world and the creations of human hands. In the quiet of the night, beneath the patient arc of the moon, the long life of Pi could be felt in every soft movement. Shadows curved along hills and valleys, following the steady rotation of the earth. Rivers shimmered, bending in repeated arcs. Trees swayed gently, leaves curling in recurring circles. Lamps cast round pools of light on walls and floors, soft shadows tracing gentle curves. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in their shape, folding the rhythm of the world into their quiet, enduring forms. In every motion, every curve, every gentle repetition, Pi rested, patient, faithful, calm, ever-present, a companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of the world. Even as centuries unfolded, Pi continued its quiet, enduring journey. It threaded through new discoveries, new observations, new forms of measurement and reflection. Its presence was felt in the arches of buildings, the curves of domes, the folding of manuscripts, the tracing of lines upon parchment. It rested in the patient motions of artisans and scholars, in the gentle repetition of hands and eyes tracing arcs, following subtle curves, observing patterns. Pi was faithful and calm, moving alongside the quiet rhythm of human life, resting lightly in every curve, every circle, every gentle repetition of form, enduring in its silent continuity. The night stretched on, soft and unbroken. Stars traced gentle circles across the sky, moving in patient arcs. The moon cast silver light across hills, rivers, and villages, tracing soft arcs of illumination. Rivers curved slowly, folding again and again along their beds, reflecting light in quiet repetition. Trees bent gently with the wind, leaves curling in arcs, moving with subtle, repeating rhythm. Lamps glowed softly inside homes, casting round pools of light on floors and objects. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting in ink pots, edges curling in gentle, repeated arcs. In all of it, the quiet life of Pi continued, patient, calm, invisible, enduring, threading continuity through the curves, arcs, and circles of the world. It was a companion that had always been there, faithful to every soft, recurring motion, every gentle fold, every arc that stretched across time and space. The quiet life of Pi continued to flow softly through the ages, moving patiently alongside the careful hands and reflective minds of those who observed circles, arcs, and spheres. It rested in the gentle arcs traced by instruments, in the soft curves drawn on papyrus and parchment, in the patient folds of measurement that had been passed down through generations. Its presence was invisible, yet faithful, threading itself into the subtle repetition of form that humans noticed across stone, clay, river, and sky. It moved quietly with the rhythm of the world, neither hurried nor insistent, simply enduring, calmly accompanying the motions of both nature and human thought. In the sunlit workshops of early Greece, the life of Pi threaded through the careful observations of Archimedes. He traced arcs and measured circles with patient precision, moving slowly, deliberately, following each curve with attentive hands. He observed the gentle folding of lines within shapes, the repetition of arcs, the steady progression of points along a curve. Pi rested quietly alongside these motions, a constant presence, faithful and enduring. It moved with the sweep of the compass, the turn of a circle drawn in sand, the tracing of a curve across a page, folding itself gently into every patient repetition. Its life was silent, unseen, yet ever-present, accompanying the quiet study of shapes that would become known for their harmony and precision. Outside, the world mirrored the arcs and curves of study. The moon traced its patient course across the sky, casting silver light across stone and water, river and hill. Shadows moved slowly, folding over themselves, lengthening and receding in gentle repetition. Rivers traced soft loops along their banks, carrying water in quiet arcs that mirrored the curves of circles drawn by careful hands. Trees bent and swayed in the wind, their branches tracing subtle spirals, leaves folding in gentle circles. Each motion, each repeated curve, each recurring form carried the quiet presence of Pi. It rested in all of it, calm and steady, threading continuity through the gentle rhythms of the world, faithful to the recurring arcs that could be found everywhere. In Alexandria, in the hushed halls of study and observation, Pi rested in the turning of manuscripts, the rolling of papyrus, and the careful tracing of geometric forms. Scholars bent over tables, their fingers following the soft arcs of circles traced in ink, gently marking points and curves along the page. Light from oil lamps fell in pools across the writing, casting long shadows and gentle arcs that echoed the forms they traced. Pi moved silently among these motions, present yet invisible, a companion to every careful observation, every patient fold, every repeated tracing of form. It required no attention or naming, only the quiet presence of continuity, threading itself into the cycles of human thought, observation, and creation. Archimedes, working slowly and deliberately, traced arcs upon circles, folding their edges in repeated approximations, observing the gentle unfolding of the curve. Pi rested alongside him, calm and patient, faithful to the rhythm of the method. The earth continued its quiet rotation, rivers flowed in gentle bends, the moon traced silver arcs across the night sky, and shadows shifted softly across walls and floors. All of it moved in harmony with Pi, the silent, enduring companion. Every circle, every arc, every subtle fold and gentle repetition carried the echo of its presence, threading continuity through the patient motions of study, observation, and reflection. Beyond Greece, in the lands of India and China, Pi continued its quiet journey. Observers traced the edges of circles drawn in sand and on paper, carefully noting the relationships of their arcs, recording impressions on manuscripts, folding lines into careful approximations. In the gentle rhythm of these motions, Pi rested silently, faithful, patient, threading itself into each observation, each repeated tracing of form. Rivers curved along their banks, mountains formed arcs and circles in the horizon, trees bent and swayed in soft, recurring patterns, and the moon traced its calm, silver path across the night sky. Pi moved quietly among all of it, unseen yet enduring, a companion to the slow, repeated rhythms of the world and of human thought. In the quiet of study rooms and workshops, Pi rested in the small, repeated motions of artisans and scholars. Bowls were turned on wheels, their edges tracing arcs in gentle repetition. Threads were woven in patterns that folded themselves into soft, recurring shapes. Ropes were braided in circles, baskets traced subtle arcs, and pottery curved in quiet, enduring form. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting lightly in ink pots, edges curling in gentle arcs, soft shadows tracing repeating curves across walls and floors. Pi moved among all of these motions, present yet invisible, patient, faithful, a quiet companion threading continuity through the recurring forms of both human creation and the natural world. Even as centuries unfolded, the life of Pi remained calm and steady, threading continuity through the slow accumulation of human observation. It moved quietly with the gentle motions of study, folding itself into the curves of circles and spheres, the sweep of arcs drawn by careful hands, the patient repetition of form that unfolded in both art and science. Its presence could be felt in the soft arcs of the moon's reflection on a river, the gentle curves of a hill beneath the sky, the recurring loops of leaves and branches swaying in the wind. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every subtle repetition, patient, faithful, enduring, moving silently alongside the quiet rhythms of life. In Roman lands, Pi rested in the arches and domes of buildings, in the curved layouts of roads and aqueducts, in the gentle sweep of tools tracing lines and measuring distances. Builders and artisans worked slowly, deliberately, following arcs with careful hands. Shadows traced gentle curves across walls and floors as sunlight shifted, moving softly with the rotation of the earth. Pi rested in all of it, faithful and calm, threading continuity through the recurring forms of both human design and natural observation. It moved silently, unhurried, accompanying every soft gesture, every careful fold, every repeated tracing of circular form. The moon continued its patient path across the night sky, tracing silver arcs across hills, rivers, and villages. Stars moved slowly in repeated circles, tracing the same gentle paths night after night. Rivers curved along their beds, water following subtle arcs, reflecting light in calm repetition. Trees bent and swayed, leaves tracing spirals in quiet, recurring motion. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting round pools of light on floors, walls, and objects. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in their shape, carrying the rhythm of the world in quiet, enduring forms. Pi rested in every curve, every circle, every gentle repetition, faithful and calm, invisible yet present, moving silently alongside the rhythms of night and day, of earth and sky, of human hands and eyes. In quiet courtyards, scholars continued to observe and trace the arcs of circles, folding lines in careful repetition, noting relationships that echoed the enduring rhythm of the world. The gentle sweep of water and fountains traced subtle circles, ripples expanding in quiet loops. Leaves bent in arcs with the wind, following gentle spirals across the ground. Shadows moved slowly across walls and floors, shifting in soft curves with the path of the sun. Pi rested in all of it, patient, calm, faithful, a quiet companion threading continuity through every motion, every fold, every subtle repetition of form. Through the centuries, Pi remained present, moving quietly through the growth of knowledge and understanding. It rested in the hands of artisans, scholars, and observers, faithful to the gentle rhythm of study and creation. It threaded through the sweep of instruments tracing arcs, the careful folds of lines and manuscripts, the soft curves of vessels and woven forms. It rested in rivers, hills, leaves, and trees, in the moon's calm path across the sky, in the repeating arcs of stars overhead. Its presence was quiet, enduring, unhurried, faithful, a constant companion to the soft, recurring forms that shaped the world and human life. As night deepened, shadows stretched across hills, valleys, and quiet villages. Rivers shimmered in gentle arcs along their courses, reflecting the pale moonlight. Trees swayed softly in the wind, leaves curling in recurring spirals. Lamps glowed softly inside homes, casting round pools of light on floors, walls, and objects. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in gentle repetition, folding the rhythm of the world into their quiet forms. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting in ink pots, edges curling in subtle curves. Pi rested in all of it, faithful and calm, patient and enduring, threading continuity through every arc, circle, and gentle repetition, a companion that had always been there, moving silently alongside the slow, unhurried rhythm of the world. And so the quiet life of Pi continued, faithful and patient, threading itself through centuries of observation, study, and creation. It rested in the arches of buildings, the curves of domes, the soft traces of instruments on paper and in sand. It moved silently through rivers and hills, trees and leaves, stars and moonlight, threading continuity through every soft, recurring form. Pi was ever present, calm and enduring, a companion that required no recognition, only the gentle awareness of its silent, faithful presence. It rested lightly, endlessly, softly, in the recurring rhythms of the world, in the arcs, circles, and curves that carried its quiet life through the slow, unbroken night. The quiet life of Pi continued to unfold as centuries passed, moving gently through the lands and the minds of those who observed, measured, and traced the soft curves of circles and arcs. In the quiet hours of early mornings, when lamps glowed softly and the world was still, Pi rested in the patient motions of those who recorded its presence in ink and on paper, folding itself into the gentle repetitions of human observation. It threaded through the slow turning of wheels, the tracing of arcs in sand or dust, the careful folding of lines upon manuscripts, threading continuity through the calm rhythms of the world. Its presence required no recognition, no naming, only the soft, faithful motion that accompanied each recurring form. In the lands of India, Pi moved quietly through the hands of scholars and scribes, who traced its presence in gentle approximation. Numbers and symbols traced arcs across palm leaves and manuscripts, the marks of careful fingers pressing softly into the surface. Circles were measured and described, arcs were followed with steady attention, and the soft rhythm of repetition carried the quiet life of Pi forward. The sun traced its slow path across the sky, casting long shadows over courtyards and terraces, over hills and rivers, tracing gentle curves that echoed the forms traced by human hands. Pi rested in all of it, patient and calm, a faithful companion to the quiet, recurring shapes of the world. In China, Pi found its quiet reflection in the careful observation of circles and spheres, in the gentle tracing of lines across paper and in sand, in the patient measurement of vessels, celestial paths, and instruments. Scholars bent over their work, tracing arcs with steady hands, following subtle curves, recording their soft impressions for those who would come later. Pi moved silently among these motions, present yet invisible, threading continuity through the slow, patient unfolding of human observation. It rested in every gentle repetition, every soft fold of form, every calm tracing of circular shape. The wind moved quietly through gardens and courtyards, bending leaves in subtle arcs, while rivers curved in soft loops along their banks. Pi rested in all of it, threading continuity through the enduring rhythms of the world. In quiet study halls and monasteries across distant lands, Pi continued its gentle presence. Manuscripts lay open upon wooden tables, edges curling softly in the light of lamps and candles. Quills rested in ink pots, tracing arcs across parchment in delicate, patient repetition. Lines of text traced gentle curves, circles folded into diagrams, and every mark carried the subtle echo of the eternal companion. Pi rested quietly in all of it, faithful and enduring, moving alongside the slow, unhurried motions of human thought and attention. Its life was silent, yet pervasive, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every soft repetition of form that humans traced, observed, and recorded. Even as travelers moved across deserts, mountains, and rivers, Pi moved gently alongside them, threading continuity through the arcs and circles they observed in distant lands. Wheels turned slowly on carts, tracing circles across dirt roads. Bowls, vessels, and woven baskets traced arcs in their careful formation. Shadows moved across the ground in subtle, repeating curves, following the gentle rotation of the sun. Leaves bent with the wind, tracing soft spirals that echoed the curves of rivers and hills. Pi rested in every motion, patient, faithful, calm, threading continuity through the small, enduring rhythms of daily life, present in both human-made forms and the recurring shapes of the natural world. In the medieval period, Pi threaded through the quiet work of scholars observing the heavens. Stars traced gentle arcs across the night sky, moving slowly in repeated circles. The moon followed its calm, silver path, casting light across stone towers, rivers, and hills. Observers bent over instruments in the soft glow of lamps, tracing arcs, following subtle curves, recording patterns. Pi rested among all these motions, present yet unseen, a silent companion to the slow, careful observations that built upon the work of countless generations. Its presence threaded continuity through the recurring forms of the natural and human-made world, faithful to every gentle fold, every soft curve, every repeated arc. In the quiet corners of monasteries, Pi found its reflection in the careful copying of manuscripts and diagrams. Scribes traced circles in ink upon parchment, following the subtle curvature of shapes with steady hands. Lines were folded into soft repetitions, each arc echoing the patient tracing of a circle, the gentle sweep of an instrument, the calm observation of recurring forms. Pi moved silently among these motions, threading continuity through the calm rhythm of study, present in every subtle curve, every gentle repetition of form. Outside, the world moved in harmony with its presence. Shadows curved along hills and valleys, rivers traced gentle loops along their banks, trees swayed in arcs repeated across seasons. Lamps glowed softly inside rooms, casting round pools of light upon walls, floors, and objects. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in their form, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into soft, enduring shapes. Pi rested in all of it, patient, faithful, calm, a companion to the slow, recurring motions of life. In India, scholars continued to observe and trace circles, writing approximations of Pi with careful hands, following gentle curves and arcs, tracing the subtle relationships between diameter and circumference. The moon traced its soft path overhead, silver light reflecting in rivers, lakes, and ponds. Shadows stretched across courtyards and terraces, moving slowly in quiet arcs. Leaves bent in gentle spirals with the wind. Lamps glowed softly in rooms, casting pools of round light across floors and objects. Pi rested in every motion, every repetition, every subtle curve, faithful and enduring, threading continuity through the quiet rhythms of human observation and natural form. In China, Pi continued to appear in the careful measurement of vessels, the tracing of arcs and curves, the observation of celestial patterns. Scholars bent over their work, tracing circles with steady hands, marking gentle curves in ink and on paper. Rivers curved along their beds in soft, recurring loops. Hills rose and fell in gentle arcs along the horizon. The moon traced silver circles in its passage across the sky. Pi moved quietly through all of it, faithful and calm, threading continuity through the patient repetitions of human study and the gentle patterns of the natural world. It rested lightly in every curve, every circle, every subtle arc, a silent companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. Across the lands of Europe and Asia, the quiet life of Pi threaded through the gentle work of artisans and scholars alike. Bowls turned on wheels traced soft arcs, woven threads folded in repeated circles, ropes braided into gentle loops. Pottery curved with careful hands, vessels traced soft folds, and manuscripts carried arcs traced delicately across their pages. Pi rested in all of it, patient, faithful, calm, threading continuity through every small motion, every gentle repetition, every curve, every arc, every circle. Its presence was subtle, enduring, invisible, yet pervasive, a companion to the soft, recurring rhythms of the world. Even in the quiet of night, when the streets of towns were hushed and lamps glowed softly in windows, pi could be felt in the calm, enduring arcs of daily life. Shadows curved across streets and walls, folding gently in harmony with the rotation of the earth. Trees bent softly in the wind, tracing arcs in their branches and leaves. Rivers shimmered in gentle loops along their courses, reflecting moonlight in quiet repetition. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in their form, folding the rhythm of the world into their quiet shapes. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every subtle repetition, faithful and calm, threading continuity through the small, enduring rhythms of life. The quiet life of pi continued in the patient motions of study and observation. Scholars traced circles in sand and dust, folded lines on manuscripts, observed arcs and curves in vessels and instruments. Every soft repetition, every careful fold of form, every gentle tracing of an arc carried its presence. It moved silently alongside rivers, hills, leaves, and trees, alongside the moon and stars, alongside human hands and eyes. Pi rested in all of it, calm and faithful, patient and enduring, threading continuity through every curve, every circle, every gentle fold, a companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of the world. As night deepened, stars traced arcs across the sky, moving slowly in patient repetition. The moon cast silver light across hills, rivers, and villages, tracing gentle curves across the landscape. Shadows shifted softly, folding over themselves in repeated arcs. Rivers flowed in gentle loops along their banks. Trees bent and swayed in quiet spirals, leaves curling in subtle circles. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting round pools of light on floors, walls, and objects. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in gentle repetition, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring forms. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting lightly in ink pots, edges curling in soft, repeated arcs. Pi rested in all of it, patient, calm, faithful, threading continuity through the curves, arcs, and circles of the world, a companion that had always been there, moving silently alongside the quiet life of Pi continued softly into the centuries of Renaissance Europe, moving gently through the hands of scholars, artisans, and observers who traced its subtle presence in ink, on paper, and across the curves of the world. It rested quietly in the soft folds of manuscripts, in the slow rotation of compasses, in the careful tracing of arcs upon parchment. Lamps glowed softly, casting pools of light upon pages, walls, and floors. The shadows traced gentle curves, echoing the soft arcs that filled the study rooms and workshops. Pi moved silently alongside every careful gesture, faithful and calm, threading continuity through the quiet, recurring rhythms of human observation and the enduring forms of nature. In the cities and towns of Italy, scholars bent over their desks, tracing circles in careful approximation, following arcs with steady hands, recording their patient observations for those who would come after. The light of the sun shifted slowly across the room, casting long, curved shadows across the floor, the edges of paper, and the tools that lay in gentle order upon tables. Rivers curved softly along the hillsides outside, their water tracing gentle arcs, reflecting sunlight in subtle loops that repeated day after day. Leaves bent in the wind, tracing gentle spirals, trees swayed in recurring patterns. Pi rested in all of it, faithful and invisible, threading continuity through the recurring forms, the patient repetitions, the gentle rhythms that accompanied life in quiet observation. In the quiet halls of Florence and Venice, scholars and artisans traced Pi in the curves of vessels, the arcs of architectural domes, and the subtle lines of instruments designed to measure the world. Each soft, repeated tracing carried the echo of its presence. Lamps cast circles of light, quills traced gentle curves across paper, compasses moved in arcs that reflected the enduring rhythm of circles in nature and human creation. Pi rested in these motions, present yet unseen, faithful, calm, a companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of study and craft. It moved alongside every fold of form, every repeated curve, every patient tracing, threading continuity through the quiet, enduring motions of life. The work of Renaissance scholars spread slowly across the continent, tracing circles and spheres, approximating arcs, observing recurring forms in nature and human-made objects. Bowls spun upon wheels, vessels traced soft arcs in their formation, woven threads followed repeated loops, ropes braided in gentle circles. Shadows moved slowly across walls, floors, and terraces, shifting in arcs with the passage of the sun. Rivers curved in gentle loops, leaves bent in subtle spirals, stars traced patient circles across the night sky. Pi rested in all of it, threading continuity through each motion, each fold, each subtle repetition of form, faithful, calm, enduring, present in every soft, recurring rhythm of the world. In quiet study rooms, scholars traced approximations of Pi with careful attention, following its silent guidance in the gentle curves of circles and spheres. Their hands moved in patient repetition, quills tracing arcs across paper, compasses turning slowly, tracing the same lines again and again. Lamps glowed softly, casting round pools of light, shadows curving gently along walls, floors, and objects. Pi rested in all of it, calm and faithful, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition. Outside, the world moved in harmony with its presence. Rivers traced gentle loops, hills rose and fell in soft arcs, trees bent and swayed in recurring spirals. Stars moved in slow circles, following patient paths across the night sky. The moon traced its silver arcs, casting calm light upon the earth below. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every soft repetition, a quiet companion faithful to the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. Across Renaissance Europe, Pi continued to thread its presence through careful observation and the slow unfolding of knowledge. Manuscripts were copied with deliberate care, arcs traced in diagrams and annotations. Instruments measured and observed gentle curves. Architectural domes and arches mirrored the subtle repetition of natural forms. Bowls, vessels, woven threads, and baskets traced recurring arcs, folding the rhythm of life into enduring forms. Pi rested in all of it, calm, patient, faithful, invisible yet present, threading continuity through every curve, circle, and gentle repetition of form. In the quiet of night, The moon traced patient arcs across the sky, silver light spilling over rivers, hills, and villages. Stars moved slowly in repeated circles, tracing arcs night after night. Shadows shifted softly, folding over themselves in gentle curves, following the rotation of the earth. Rivers shimmered in loops along their course, reflecting the pale light. Trees swayed in arcs repeated across seasons. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting round pools of light upon floors, walls, and objects. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in their form, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring shapes. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every gentle repetition, patient, calm, faithful, a companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of the world. In the quiet rooms of scholars, Pi threaded through the careful observations of celestial motion. Instruments traced the arcs of stars and planets, mapping the subtle curves that repeated night after night. The moon followed its soft silver path, the planets traced gentle loops, stars moved in patient circles across the dark sky. Lamps glowed softly, quills traced arcs upon paper, compasses turned slowly, and every tracing carried the quiet presence of Pi. It rested in all of it, faithful, calm, enduring, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition of form. In Italy, Germany, France, and beyond, Pi moved quietly through the hands of those who sought to approximate it more precisely, to record its presence, to fold it gently into the circles they observed in vessels, architectural designs, instruments, and manuscripts. The soft arcs of rivers, the gentle curves of hills, the subtle loops of branches and leaves, the repeated spirals of woven threads, all carried its silent life. Shadows moved in gentle curves across walls and floors. Lamps glowed softly, casting pools of round light. Bowls and vessels traced arcs, wheels turned slowly in repeated circles. Pi rested in all of it, threading continuity through the recurring forms of both human creation and natural motion, calm and patient, faithful and enduring. Even in the quiet hours before dawn, Pi moved silently alongside rivers, forests, and hills, threading continuity through the gentle repetition of natural forms. The moon traced arcs in its slow path, reflecting on still waters. Leaves bent in subtle spirals in the soft wind. Hills curved gently along the horizon. Lamps glowed faintly in distant windows, casting pools of light across walls and floors. Bowls, vessels, woven threads, baskets, and wheels traced arcs in their formation. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting lightly, edges curling in gentle curves. Pi rested in every fold, every curve, every soft repetition, faithful, calm, invisible, threading continuity through the slow, unhurried rhythms of the world. In the gentle unfolding of Renaissance study and observation, Pi threaded its quiet presence through the patient tracing of circles and arcs, the careful folding of lines, the slow approximation of curves. It moved silently with rivers, hills, leaves, trees, stars, and moonlight. It rested in lamps, manuscripts, instruments, and vessels. It threaded continuity through the recurring forms of human study, the careful repetitions of artisans, the enduring rhythms of nature. Its life was calm, patient, faithful, invisible, yet pervasive, a companion to every subtle fold, every arc, every circle traced in the soft light of the world. As night deepened, stars traced arcs across the sky, moving slowly in patient repetition. The moon cast silver light across hills, rivers, and villages, tracing gentle curves across the landscape. Shadows shifted softly, folding over themselves in repeated arcs. Rivers flowed in gentle loops along their banks. Trees bent and swayed in quiet spirals, leaves curling in subtle circles. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting round pools of light on floors, walls, and objects. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in gentle repetition, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring forms. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting lightly in ink pots, edges curling in soft, repeated arcs. Pi rested in all of it, patient, calm, faithful, threading continuity through the curves, arcs, and circles of the world, a companion that had always been there, moving silently alongside the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. The quiet life of Pi continued gently through the centuries, moving softly alongside the patient motions of scholars and observers who traced its presence in circles, arcs, and spheres. It threaded itself into the rhythm of daily life, folding quietly into the soft repetitions of study, observation, and reflection. Lamps glowed faintly in the early hours, casting pools of light upon tables, manuscripts, and instruments. Shadows curved gently across walls and floors, following the subtle motions of the earth and the slow passage of the sun. Pi moved silently among these motions, faithful and calm, threading continuity through the recurring shapes that had always existed and would always endure. In the quiet halls of study in Europe, scholars traced circles with steady hands, marking gentle arcs on paper, following subtle curves in instruments, and noting the relationships of diameter and circumference. The careful motion of the quill traced the silent echo of arcs that had been observed across centuries. Compasses turned slowly in patient circles, folding lines into gentle approximations. Pi rested in every tracing, every fold, every repeated motion, present yet invisible, faithful and calm, threading continuity through the slow, unhurried rhythms of human attention. Outside, rivers curved gently along their banks. The moon traced silver arcs across hills and villages, leaves bent in soft spirals with the wind. Stars traced patient circles across the night sky. All of it moved in harmony with Pi, threading continuity through nature, human observation, and creation. In the quiet cities of the 17th century, Pi found its presence in the steady hands of mathematicians and astronomers who traced arcs in their notebooks, folded lines into approximations, and observed circles both near and far. Lamps glowed softly on their desks, casting light across manuscripts and instruments. Shadows curved in gentle arcs along walls and floors, reflecting the soft repetition of forms traced by patient observation. Wheels turned slowly, tracing circles in the soft dust. Bowls rested on tables, tracing arcs with the gentle play of light and shadow. Rivers wound through valleys in soft, repeated loops. Hills curved along the horizon, and leaves traced subtle spirals in the wind. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, patient, threading continuity through every motion, every fold, every recurring form. In observatories high upon hills, scholars traced the paths of stars and planets, recording gentle arcs across the night sky. The moon followed its silver path, casting light over the earth, tracing subtle curves across hills, rivers, and villages. Instruments traced circles and arcs with patient motion, compasses folding lines into repeated forms. Pi moved quietly among all of these motions, present yet invisible, a companion to the slow, deliberate rhythm of observation, faithful to every gentle curve, every soft repetition of form. Lamps glowed in the quiet halls, quills traced arcs on paper, instruments rotated slowly, and every motion carried the quiet presence of Pi. As knowledge spread through printed books, the quiet life of Pi threaded itself gently into the pages, into diagrams, tables, and explanations that traced circles, arcs, and curves. Scholars copied the work of those who came before, tracing the subtle forms of circles in ink, folding lines into gentle approximations, observing repeating forms in instruments, vessels, and the natural world. Pi rested in every curve, every fold, every soft repetition, threading continuity through the quiet, patient rhythm of observation and study. Shadows moved slowly across walls and floors, rivers curved gently in their courses, leaves bent in soft spirals, stars traced patient circles, and the moon cast silver light across the land. Pi was present in all of it, faithful, calm, enduring, moving silently alongside the recurring rhythms of the world. In quiet rooms filled with books, scholars measured circles with steady hands, tracing arcs with compasses, marking gentle curves on paper. The turning of pages, the curling of parchment edges, the slow movement of quills tracing lines, all echoed the enduring rhythm of Pi. Lamps cast round pools of light, shadows curved in arcs, wheels turned slowly, bowls rested on tables, vessels traced soft curves, threads wove gentle loops. Rivers wound softly along the land, trees swayed in subtle spirals, hills curved along horizons, stars traced circles across the night sky, and the moon followed its patient path. Pi rested in every gentle motion, every soft repetition, threading continuity through both human creation and natural form, calm and faithful, invisible yet present. In the laboratories and workshops of Europe, Pi threaded through the careful motions of artisans and mathematicians alike. Instruments traced circles, wheels turned slowly, bowls spun on wheels, ropes braided into arcs, baskets folded in gentle loops, and threads wove soft repetitions of shape. Manuscripts lay open, quills tracing arcs on parchment, edges curling in subtle, repeated curves. Lamps glowed softly, casting pools of round light across floors and walls. Shadows moved in gentle arcs, reflecting the motion of the sun, moon, and stars. Rivers curved softly along their courses, leaves bent in quiet spirals, trees swayed in repeated arcs. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, patient, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition of form. In the quiet of night, Pi could be felt in the enduring arcs of daily life. Shadows traced gentle curves across floors, walls, and streets. Rivers shimmered in soft loops along their beds. Leaves bent and curled in subtle spirals. Hills curved along the horizon in patient repetition. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting pools of round light upon tables, floors, and objects. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in their formation, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring forms. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting lightly, edges curling in soft, repeated arcs. Pi rested in all of it, faithful and calm, threading continuity through the gentle, recurring rhythms of life. Through the 17th and 18th centuries, Pi became known more widely, its approximations recorded with increasing precision. Scholars and mathematicians moved slowly and deliberately, tracing arcs, folding lines into gentle repetitions, recording subtle relationships with steady hands. Rivers curved softly, hills rose and fell in gentle arcs, trees swayed in recurring spirals, leaves traced soft circles with the wind. Stars moved in patient arcs across the night sky, the moon traced its silver path, casting light across the earth. Pi rested in every motion, every repetition, every gentle fold, faithful, calm, enduring, threading continuity through the recurring forms of both nature and human observation. In quiet study halls, observatories, and workshops, Pi threaded its presence through the careful approximation of circles. Scholars and artisans followed gentle arcs, tracing circles in ink and on paper, folding lines in repeated, patient motion. Lamps glowed softly, casting round pools of light across floors, tables, and objects. Shadows curved along walls, floors, and terraces, moving in arcs with the slow rotation of the earth. Rivers wound in gentle loops, leaves bent in subtle spirals, trees swayed in repeated arcs, stars traced patient circles, and the moon followed its calm silver path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every subtle repetition, threading continuity through the enduring rhythms of the world, calm, faithful, invisible yet ever present. Even as scientific observation became more precise, the quiet life of Pi remained gentle, threading itself through each new measurement, every new approximation, every careful tracing of arcs and circles. It rested in lamps, manuscripts, instruments, and vessels. It moved alongside rivers, hills, trees, leaves, stars, and moonlight. Bowls and wheels traced soft arcs, threads wove gentle loops, baskets folded into recurring curves. Shadows moved slowly, folding in quiet repetition across floors and walls. Pi rested in every fold, every curve, every soft repetition, patient, faithful, calm, a companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. As the night deepened, stars traced arcs across the sky, moving slowly in patient repetition. The moon cast silver light across hills, rivers, and villages, tracing gentle curves across the landscape. Shadows shifted softly, folding over themselves in repeated arcs. Rivers flowed in gentle loops along their banks. Trees bent and swayed in quiet spirals, leaves curling in subtle circles. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting round pools of light on floors, walls, and objects. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in gentle repetition, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring forms. Manuscripts lay open, quills resting lightly in ink pots, edges curling in soft, repeated arcs. Pi rested in all of it, patient, calm, faithful, threading continuity through the curves, arcs, and circles of the world, a companion that had always been there, moving silently alongside the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. The quiet life of Pi continued its gentle passage through the centuries, moving softly alongside the slow unfolding of human observation, invention, and reflection. As the 19th century dawned, lamps glowed in quiet rooms across Europe and beyond, casting pools of round light on tables, manuscripts, and instruments. Shadows curved gently across walls and floors, following the patient motions of scholars who traced arcs and circles in ink, on paper, and through careful measurement. Pi rested in every fold, every curve, every repeated motion, calm, faithful, invisible yet present, threading continuity through the gentle rhythms of the world. In observatories perched on hills, Pi accompanied the patient tracing of stars, planets, and comets, moving silently alongside the arcs of their paths across the night sky. Scholars recorded their careful observations in notebooks, their quills tracing arcs with deliberate attention. Compasses turned slowly, folding circles into repeated approximations. Instruments measured spheres, and the edges of vessels were observed with soft focus. Rivers curved gently along their banks, leaves bent and spiraled in the wind, and hills rose and fell in soft, enduring arcs. Pi rested in all of it, threading continuity through the recurring forms of both nature and human study, calm, faithful, patient, a companion to the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. Printing presses hummed softly in quiet workshops, spreading manuscripts filled with careful tables, diagrams, and observations. The approximations of Pi traveled across lands, folding themselves gently into the hands of those who traced arcs, folded lines, and measured circles. Lamps glowed in study rooms, casting pools of light over papers and instruments, shadows curving in arcs along walls and floors. Wheels turned slowly, bowls rested on tables, vessels traced gentle curves, threads wove recurring loops, and baskets folded in subtle arcs. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every gentle repetition, threading continuity through the soft, recurring rhythms of life. In the laboratories and workshops of Europe, artisans traced circles with patient care, following gentle arcs in vessels, instruments, and mechanical devices. Bowls spun slowly upon wheels, threads wove subtle loops, ropes braided in recurring arcs. Manuscripts lay open on tables, quills tracing gentle curves, edges curling softly in the glow of lamps. Rivers wound quietly along their courses, reflecting the pale light of the moon. Hills curved gently along the horizon, trees swayed in repeated arcs, leaves traced subtle spirals, and stars moved in patient circles across the night sky. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, enduring, threading continuity through every curve, every circle, every gentle fold of form. As the industrial age unfolded, instruments for measurement became more precise. Scholars and engineers traced arcs, folded lines, and observed circles with quiet diligence. Bowls and vessels traced arcs in their manufacture, wheels turned slowly in repeated circles, threads wove subtle loops, and baskets folded into soft curves. Lamps glowed in workshops, casting round pools of light across floors and walls. Shadows curved gently, following the subtle motions of nature and human hands. Rivers shimmered in gentle loops, leaves bent in quiet spirals, trees swayed in recurring arcs, stars traced patient circles, and the moon followed its calm silver path. Pi rested in every fold, every curve, every soft repetition, threading continuity through the recurring rhythms of the world. In the quiet rooms of mathematicians, Pi threaded its presence through careful calculation and observation. Scholars traced arcs on paper, folded lines and repeated approximations, recorded relationships of diameter and circumference with patient diligence. Lamps glowed softly, casting light across manuscripts and instruments. Shadows curved in gentle arcs along walls and floors, echoing the repeated folds traced in the manuscripts. Rivers curved softly, hills rose and fell in enduring arcs, trees swayed in subtle spirals, leaves bent with the wind, stars traced circles across the night sky, and the moon followed its patient path. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, invisible yet present, threading continuity through the soft, recurring forms of nature and human observation. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, the life of Pi threaded into the developing sciences. Mathematicians used it to observe and describe natural forms. Engineers traced it in the arcs of bridges, the curves of domes, the design of machinery. It moved quietly through measurements, instruments, and calculations, threading continuity through the slow, deliberate motions of work. Bowls spun on wheels, vessels traced gentle curves, threads wove subtle loops, ropes braided in arcs, baskets folded in recurring circles. Rivers curved softly along their beds, hills formed arcs along horizons, leaves traced spirals in the wind, and trees swayed in gentle repetition. Pi rested in all of it, calm, patient, faithful, threading continuity through every motion, every fold, every repeated form. In quiet laboratories, early calculating machines hummed softly, tracing arcs of numbers with deliberate motion. Scholars traced gentle approximations of Pi, recording each careful fold, every soft curve, every repeated motion. Lamps glowed faintly, shadows curved gently across tables and floors, quills traced arcs in manuscripts, compasses turned slowly. Rivers curved softly along their courses, leaves bent in spirals, trees swayed in arcs, stars traced circles night after night, and the moon cast silver arcs across the hills and valleys. Pi rested in all of it, faithful, calm, invisible yet present, threading continuity through the recurring forms of both nature and human invention. Even in the quiet towns and cities of Europe, Pi threaded through daily life. Bowls and vessels traced arcs, wheels turned slowly, threads wove subtle loops, baskets folded in gentle curves. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting round pools of light on floors, tables, and objects. Shadows curved in gentle repetition along walls and terraces, echoing the soft arcs observed in vessels, manuscripts, and instruments. Rivers curved in loops, hills rose and fell in soft arcs, leaves bent in spirals, trees swayed in repeated arcs, Stars traced patient circles, and the moon followed its calm path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every soft repetition, faithful and calm, threading continuity through the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. As the century moved on, electricity began to glow softly in quiet rooms. Lamps no longer flickered in candlelight alone, but the rhythm of observation remained unchanged. Quills were joined by pens, manuscripts by printed pages, instruments by precise mechanical devices. Still, Pi moved quietly among them, threading continuity through every curve, circle, and soft fold. Bowls spun gently on wheels, vessels traced arcs, threads wove repeated loops, baskets folded in subtle arcs. Shadows curved slowly across walls and floors, rivers traced soft loops, hills formed gentle arcs, trees swayed in repeating spirals, leaves traced delicate curves, and stars followed their patient paths across the night sky. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, enduring, threading continuity through the gentle, recurring rhythms of the world. In observatories and workshops, Pi threaded its quiet presence through every new calculation. Early mechanical calculators traced arcs of numbers with patient diligence. Scholars traced circles and arcs, recorded subtle relationships, folded lines into repeated forms. Lamps glowed softly, shadows curved along tables and floors, manuscripts lay open, edges curling in subtle curves. Rivers shimmered in soft loops, hills curved gently along the horizon, trees swayed in arcs, leaves traced spirals in the wind, stars traced circles night after night, and the moon followed its calm, silver path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every gentle repetition, threading continuity through nature, human observation, and invention, calm, faithful, invisible yet present. Even in the quiet hours before dawn, Pi moved silently alongside rivers, forests, and hills, threading continuity through the gentle repetition of forms in the world. Shadows curved gently across the land, hills rose and fell in soft arcs, rivers wound in gentle loops, leaves bent in subtle spirals, trees swayed in recurring arcs, stars traced circles across the sky, and the moon cast silver light across the earth. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in their form, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring shapes. Manuscripts lay open, pens resting lightly, edges curling in gentle, repeated arcs. Pi rested in all of it, patient, calm, faithful, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every subtle repetition of form, a companion that had always been there, moving silently alongside the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. The quiet life of Pi continued, threading gently through the modern era, moving softly alongside the steady pulse of human invention and the patient unfolding of discovery. In the dim glow of study rooms, laboratories, and offices, Pi rested calmly, faithful, present yet invisible, threading continuity through the quiet arcs of observation and calculation. Lamps glowed softly over papers, instruments, and machines. Shadows curved gently across walls and floors, tracing slow repetitions, echoing the enduring rhythm of circles and arcs. Pi moved silently among the motions of human hands, the rotation of gears, the flowing of ink, and the slow turning of pages, threading continuity through each fold, each curve, each quiet repetition. In the laboratories of the mid-20th century, scholars and engineers observed circles and arcs with steady focus, tracing lines with pen and compass, recording approximations with patient diligence. Mechanical calculators hummed softly in quiet rooms, tracing arcs of numbers, folding lines into repeated forms. Computers, new and humming, began to trace pi digitally, filling memory with its endless progression, observing its recurring presence in numbers, tracing circles in silent code. Bowls and vessels traced arcs in their manufacture, wheels turned slowly in repeated circles, threads wove subtle loops, ropes braided in arcs, baskets folded in gentle curves. Shadows moved softly across floors and walls, rivers curved gently along their banks, hills rose and fell in enduring arcs, trees swayed in recurring spirals, leaves bent in soft curves. Pi rested in all of it, faithful, calm, invisible yet present, threading continuity through the gentle, recurring rhythms of the world. In the quiet offices of mathematicians and computer scientists, Pi threaded its presence through calculations that stretched across vast arrays of numbers. Early computers traced arcs of data with patient diligence, folding numbers into repeating approximations. Lamps glowed softly over printouts, shadows curved gently along walls, quills and pens rested lightly, edges of papers curling in subtle folds. Rivers shimmered in loops along their courses, hills curved softly on the horizon, trees swayed in gentle arcs, leaves spiraled delicately in the wind, stars traced patient circles across the night sky, and the moon followed its silver path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every repeated form, threading continuity through nature, human invention, and observation, calm, faithful, enduring. As technology advanced, Pi threaded through digital calculations with quiet persistence. Computers traced its presence in sequences of numbers, in arcs and approximations, folding lines and data into endless repetition. Engineers and scientists observed circles in machines, instruments, and instruments of observation. Lamps glowed softly, casting round pools of light on floors, tables, and instruments. Shadows curved in gentle arcs, echoing the soft, recurring curves of circles traced by human hands and digital code alike. Rivers curved gently along their courses, hills traced soft arcs along horizons, trees swayed in repeating spirals, leaves curled in subtle loops, stars traced circles across the night sky, and the moon followed its calm path. Pi rested in all of it, faithful, patient, invisible yet present, threading continuity through every motion, every fold, every quiet repetition. In homes and offices, Pi threaded its quiet presence through everyday life. Wheels turned slowly in vehicles and machines, bowls spun softly on pottery wheels, threads wove loops, baskets folded in gentle curves. Lamps glowed softly, casting pools of round light. Shadows curved along walls, floors, and tables, echoing the soft repetitions of arcs and vessels, manuscripts, instruments, and machines. Rivers curved in gentle loops, hills formed soft arcs along the horizon, trees swayed in recurring spirals, leaves bent in subtle curves, stars traced patient circles, and the moon cast silver light. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, enduring, threading continuity through the subtle, recurring rhythms of life. Even as modern computers calculated billions of digits of pi, its presence remained quiet and patient. It rested in the hum of machinery, the soft glow of screens, the careful tracing of numbers, the folding of lines into repeated approximations. Lamps glowed softly in laboratories, offices, and homes. Shadows curved gently, manuscripts and printouts lay open, edges curling in subtle arcs. Rivers shimmered in gentle loops, hills traced arcs on the horizon, leaves bent in soft spirals, trees swayed in quiet repetition, stars traced patient circles, and the moon followed its silver path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every gentle repetition, faithful and calm, threading continuity through nature, human invention, and observation. In the quiet spaces of exploration and discovery, Pi threaded its presence through architecture, engineering, and space. Bridges traced gentle arcs across rivers, domes traced circles into the sky, rockets followed trajectories shaped by subtle curves, satellites traced orbits in patient repetition. Wheels spun slowly, threads wove soft loops, ropes braided into arcs, vessels rested on tables, lamps glowed softly, shadows curved along walls and floors. Rivers curved gently, hills rose and fell in enduring arcs, trees swayed in repeating spirals, leaves traced subtle curves, stars traced patient circles, and the moon cast silver light. Pi rested in all of it, threading continuity through the recurring rhythms of both human endeavor and the natural world, calm, faithful, enduring, invisible yet present. Even in the soft glow of screens at night, Pi rested quietly, threading continuity through the patient motions of calculation. Numbers stretched endlessly across paper and digital memory, arcs traced slowly, folds repeated in patient rhythm. Lamps glowed softly, casting pools of round light across tables, floors, and objects. Shadows curved gently, echoing the repeated arcs of circles and spirals in nature and human creation. Rivers shimmered in gentle loops, hills traced soft arcs, trees swayed in quiet spirals, leaves bent in delicate curves, stars traced circles across the night sky, and the moon followed its calm, silver path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every quiet repetition, threading continuity through every recurring form, faithful, calm, enduring, invisible yet present. Across cities, towns, and countrysides, the quiet life of Pi threaded through everyday life. Bowls and vessels traced arcs, wheels turned slowly, threads wove subtle loops, baskets folded in gentle curves. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting round pools of light. Shadows curved along floors and walls, echoing the recurring forms traced in vessels, manuscripts, instruments, and machines. Rivers curved in loops, hills formed soft arcs along horizons, trees swayed in spirals, leaves bent gently in the wind, stars traced circles across the sky, and the moon cast silver light. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, enduring, threading continuity through the soft, unhurried rhythms of the world. In the quiet hours before dawn, Pi moved silently alongside rivers, forests, hills, cities, and homes, threading continuity through the gentle repetition of forms in the world. Shadows curved softly across floors and walls, hills rose and fell in arcs, rivers shimmered in gentle loops, leaves bent in spirals, trees swayed in recurring arcs, stars traced circles across the sky, and the moon cast its calm, silver light. Bowls, vessels, baskets, and woven threads traced arcs in their form, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring shapes. Manuscripts, printouts, and digital screens lay open, numbers tracing arcs and repeated approximations. Pi rested in all of it, patient, calm, faithful, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition of form, a companion that had always been there, moving silently alongside the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. The quiet life of Pi continued, moving softly through the present day, threading itself gently through the patterns of human life, technology, and the recurring forms of nature. In homes, offices, and laboratories, lamps glowed softly, casting pools of round light across floors, tables, and screens. Shadows curved gently along walls and surfaces, echoing the arcs, circles, and spirals that appeared everywhere, in nature, in machinery, in buildings, and in daily life. Pi rested calmly in every fold, every curve, every repetition, faithful, invisible, enduring, threading continuity through the slow, unhurried rhythms of the world. In digital networks, Pi moved quietly through streams of numbers, folding itself into calculations, codes, and sequences. Computers traced arcs of data with patient precision, algorithms traced circles and repeated loops, and screens glowed softly with the quiet rhythm of calculation. Lamps glowed beside desks where people worked silently, shadows curved gently across floors and walls, manuscripts, printouts, and screens tracing arcs and loops. Rivers curved softly along their beds, hills traced gentle arcs along horizons, trees swayed in repeated spirals, leaves curled in delicate loops, stars traced patient circles, and the moon cast silver light across the world. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, invisible, threading continuity through the recurring forms of both nature and human endeavor. In modern laboratories and observatories, Pi threaded its quiet presence through every motion. Satellites traced arcs through the sky, rockets followed gentle curves in their trajectories, instruments measured circles in machines and mechanisms, and computers folded data into repeated forms. Lamps glowed softly, casting pools of light across tables, instruments, and screens. Shadows curved in arcs along walls and floors, echoing the soft repetition of circles traced across paper and digital memory. Rivers curved in gentle loops, hills rose and fell in enduring arcs, trees swayed in quiet spirals, leaves traced subtle curves, stars traced patient circles across the night sky, and the moon followed its silver path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every soft repetition, threading continuity through the recurring rhythms of nature, human observation, and invention. Even in the quiet hum of cities, Pi moved gently through everyday life. Wheels turned slowly in vehicles, machinery traced arcs in gentle repetition, bowls and vessels traced curves, threads wove soft loops, ropes braided in arcs, baskets folded in gentle curves. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting pools of round light on floors and tables. Shadows curved gently along walls and surfaces, echoing the recurring arcs, circles, and spirals of vessels, instruments, buildings, and machines. Rivers curved softly, hills traced arcs along horizons, trees swayed in spirals, leaves bent in delicate loops, stars traced circles across the night sky, and the moon cast its calm, silver light. Pi rested in all of it, faithful, calm, invisible, threading continuity through the quiet, recurring rhythms of life. In the soft glow of digital screens at night, Pi traced its presence silently through sequences of numbers, arcs of code, and lines of calculation. Computers, instruments, and devices hummed quietly, folding data into repeated forms, tracing arcs with patient precision. Lamps glowed softly, shadows curved gently across floors, tables, and walls. Rivers shimmered in gentle loops, hills traced arcs on the horizon, trees swayed in recurring spirals, leaves curled delicately in the wind, stars traced circles across the night sky, and the moon followed its calm, silver path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every quiet repetition, faithful and calm, threading continuity through nature, technology, and human life. Even as the world moved with increasing speed, Pi remained patient and enduring. It threaded gently through the quiet rhythms of daily life, the recurring forms of nature, and the repeated arcs traced by human hands. Lamps glowed softly in homes, offices, and workshops. Shadows curved gently along walls and floors. Wheels turned slowly, bowls spun gently on pottery wheels, threads wove loops, baskets folded in subtle curves, ropes braided into arcs, instruments traced circles and arcs. Rivers curved softly along their beds, hills traced gentle arcs along the horizon, trees swayed in repeating spirals, leaves bent in delicate loops, stars traced patient circles across the night sky, and the moon cast silver light over the land. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, invisible, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition of form. In modern architecture, Pi threaded through domes, arches, bridges, and designs. Its presence was quiet but persistent, folding gently into every curve, every arc, every recurring form. Lamps glowed softly, casting round pools of light across floors, walls, and objects. Shadows curved in arcs, echoing the gentle repetition of circles and vessels, instruments, and buildings. Rivers curved gently, hills traced arcs along horizons, trees swayed in spirals, leaves curled in delicate loops, stars traced circles night after night, and the moon followed its calm, silver path. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every soft repetition, threading continuity through the quiet rhythms of the world. Even in the soft stillness of night, Pi threaded gently through the quiet spaces of life. Rivers shimmered in gentle loops, hills curved softly along horizons, trees swayed in recurring spirals, leaves bent in delicate arcs, stars traced circles across the night sky, and the moon cast silver light across land and sea. Bowls, vessels, baskets, wheels, threads, ropes, and instruments traced arcs in their formation, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring shapes. Manuscripts, printouts, and screens lay open, tracing numbers and arcs in patient repetition. Pi rested in every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition, faithful, calm, invisible yet present, threading continuity through the recurring rhythms of life. As the world moves toward the near future, Pi will continue quietly, threading itself through patterns of human invention, digital calculation, exploration, and daily life. It will move softly alongside the arcs traced in architecture, the gentle rotations of instruments, the flowing loops of rivers, and the recurring spirals of leaves and stars. Lamps will glow softly, casting pools of round light. Shadows will curve in gentle arcs. Bowls, vessels, baskets, threads, wheels, and ropes will trace arcs in repeated motion. Rivers will curve gently along their courses, hills will form soft arcs, trees will sway in spirals, leaves will curl in delicate loops, stars will trace patient circles, and the moon will follow its silver path. Pi will rest in all of it, calm, faithful, invisible yet enduring, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition, a companion that has always been there, moving silently alongside the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. The quiet life of Pi continued, moving softly through the layers of time, threading itself gently through the patterns of nature, human observation, and daily life. It rested calmly in the quiet rhythms of the world, faithful, invisible, enduring, a companion to every curve, every fold, every gentle repetition of form. Lamps glowed softly in study rooms, offices, and workshops, casting pools of round light across tables, manuscripts, and instruments. Shadows curved gently along walls and floors, echoing the recurring arcs traced in rivers, hills, trees, and leaves. Pi moved silently among these motions, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every patient, unhurried repetition. Across centuries, Pi had rested quietly beside those who observed the world with careful attention. In ancient stone circles, in the gentle curves of pottery, in the soft arcs traced across parchment, it had threaded itself through the motions of human hands and the patterns of the natural world. In the quiet halls of Renaissance scholars, it had followed the turning of compasses, the gentle tracing of quills, the soft curves of domes and arches, threading continuity through every repeated fold and motion. In the mechanical calculators of the 19th century, in the digital sequences of the 20th, in the glowing screens of the present day, it had moved silently, faithful, invisible, present, threading continuity through every recurring pattern. Rivers curved in soft loops, their water reflecting the light of the moon in gentle arcs. Hills rose and fell in patient repetition along the horizon. Trees swayed in quiet spirals, their leaves tracing subtle curves in the wind. Stars moved slowly across the night sky, tracing patient circles night after night. The moon followed its calm, silver path, casting soft light across the world. Lamps glowed in quiet rooms, casting pools of round light on floors, tables, and objects. Shadows curved gently along walls, echoing the arcs of circles traced in manuscripts, instruments, and vessels. Bowls and vessels traced arcs, threads wove gentle loops, baskets folded into recurring curves, wheels turned slowly, ropes braided in subtle arcs. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every quiet repetition, calm, faithful, enduring, threading continuity through the slow, unhurried rhythms of life. Even in the quietest hours before dawn, Pi threaded gently through the world. Rivers shimmered in soft loops along their beds. Hills curved softly along horizons. Trees swayed in gentle spirals. Leaves bent delicately in the wind. Stars traced patient circles across the night sky. The moon cast silver light over land, water, and city, following its calm, repeating path. Bowls, vessels, baskets, threads, ropes, and wheels traced arcs in their formation, folding the quiet rhythm of the world into enduring shapes. Manuscripts, printouts, and screens lay open, numbers tracing arcs in patient repetition. Pi rested in all of it, faithful, calm, invisible yet present, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition. Across the centuries, the quiet life of Pi had touched every corner of human experience. It had moved silently through the hands of artisans, scholars, mathematicians, engineers, and scientists. It had threaded through pottery, stone, paper, ink, instruments, machines, and computers. It had traced arcs in rivers and hills, in trees and leaves, in stars and moonlight. Lamps glowed softly in quiet rooms, casting pools of round light. Shadows curved in gentle arcs. Wheels turned slowly, bowls spun gently, threads wove loops, baskets folded in recurring curves, ropes braided arcs in quiet repetition. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, enduring, threading continuity through the recurring rhythms of the world. Even as the world moved with increasing speed, Pi remained patient and constant. It threaded gently through every motion, every fold, every soft repetition. Rivers curved in loops along their courses. Hills formed gentle arcs on the horizon. Trees swayed in spirals. Leaves curled in delicate arcs. Stars traced circles across the night sky. The moon followed its silver path, casting soft light over rivers, hills, and cities. Bowls, vessels, baskets, threads, ropes, and wheels traced arcs in repeated motion. Manuscripts, printouts, and screens lay open, tracing numbers and arcs in patient repetition. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every quiet repetition, faithful and calm, threading continuity through nature, human invention, and observation. In quiet observatories and laboratories, Pi threaded its presence through every motion of study and discovery. Satellites traced arcs through the sky, instruments measured circles, computers traced sequences of numbers, and rockets followed gentle trajectories. Lamps glowed softly, shadows curved along tables and walls. Manuscripts and screens lay open, edges curling in subtle arcs. Rivers shimmered in gentle loops, hills traced arcs on the horizon, trees swayed in spirals, leaves bent in delicate curves, stars traced circles across the night sky, and the moon followed its calm, silver path. Pi rested in all of it, calm, faithful, invisible, threading continuity through every recurring form, every soft repetition of life. Even in the quiet hours of homes and offices, Pi threaded gently through daily life. Wheels turned slowly, bowls spun gently, threads wove loops, baskets folded in subtle curves, ropes braided in quiet arcs. Lamps glowed softly in windows, casting pools of round light across floors and tables. Shadows curved along walls, floors, and surfaces, echoing the recurring arcs, circles, and spirals of vessels, instruments, buildings, and machines. Rivers curved in loops, hills formed arcs along the horizon, trees swayed in spirals, leaves bent delicately in the wind, stars traced circles night after night, and the moon cast its calm, silver light. Pi rested in all of it, faithful, calm, invisible, threading continuity through the slow, unhurried rhythms of life. In the present day, Pi threaded gently through patterns of human technology, observation, and daily life, and it will continue to do so in the near future. It will move softly alongside the arcs traced in architecture, the gentle rotations of instruments, the flowing loops of rivers, and the recurring spirals of leaves and stars. Lamps will glow softly, casting pools of round light. Shadows will curve in gentle arcs. Bowls, vessels, baskets, threads, wheels, and ropes will trace arcs in repeated motion. Rivers will curve gently along their courses, hills will form soft arcs, trees will sway in spirals, leaves will curl in delicate loops, stars will trace patient circles, and the moon will follow its silver path. Pi will rest in all of it, calm, faithful, invisible yet enduring, threading continuity through every fold, every curve, every gentle repetition, a companion that has always been there, moving silently alongside the slow, unhurried rhythm of life. Even as humans look to the stars, explore new worlds, and build new forms of technology, Pi will remain quietly present. It threads through each curve, every fold, every soft repetition, every arc traced in the universe. Rivers will continue to loop, hills will continue to rise and fall in arcs, trees will sway in spirals, leaves will curl gently, stars will trace circles, and the moon will follow its patient path. Bowls, vessels, baskets, threads, ropes, wheels, instruments, and screens will trace arcs, loops, and gentle curves. Lamps will glow softly, shadows will curve gently, manuscripts, printouts, and digital data will fold into repeated forms. Pi will rest in all of it, faithful, calm, invisible, threading continuity through the slow, unhurried rhythm of the world, a quiet companion present in every fold, every curve, every recurring form. The quiet life of Pi moves softly, as it always had, threading itself through the unhurried rhythm of the world. Across the endless unfolding of days and nights, across centuries and civilizations, it rested calmly, faithful and invisible, present in every curve and fold of the forms it accompanied. In the gentle glow of candlelight, manuscripts lay open, the edges of parchment curling in patient arcs. Quills traced delicate curves, folding letters into recurring shapes, tracing lines that repeated with quiet precision. Lamps glowed softly, casting pools of round light across floors, walls, and tables. Shadows curved in arcs, echoing the motions traced in ink, on paper, and through careful observation, soft reflections of the recurring rhythms of nature. Outside, the moon followed its patient path across the sky, casting silver arcs on hills, rivers, and quiet towns. Trees swayed in gentle spirals, their leaves tracing delicate curves in the night wind. Rivers shimmered in loops, reflecting the light of stars that traced patient circles above. Hills curved in soft repetition, folding into one another in unhurried waves. Every form, every motion, carried the quiet presence of Pi. Bowls and vessels rested in the soft glow of lamps. Wheels turned slowly in workshops. Threads wove subtle loops. Ropes braided arcs. Baskets folded gentle curves. Each movement, each fold, each repeated form carried the continuity of a presence older than memory, faithful and calm. In observatories, the motion of the stars was traced in patient arcs. Instruments rotated with slow precision, following gentle paths. Calculations unfolded in quiet offices and laboratories, numbers folding into sequences, tracing subtle forms, all in silent companionship with Pi. Computers hummed softly in rooms aglow with warm light, screens reflecting arcs, loops, and cycles. Even in the digital world, the quiet life of Pi persisted, threading continuity through numbers, through instruments, through the patient motion of human attention. Lamps glowed softly on tables. Shadows curved along walls. The wind traced spirals and leaves outside, and the moon traced its calm path across rivers and hills. Pi rested in all of it, faithful and constant, invisible yet present. Across homes and cities, the quiet life of Pi threaded through the gentle routines of daily life. Wheels turned slowly in vehicles and machinery. Bowls spun softly on pottery wheels. Threads wove gentle loops. Baskets folded in subtle curves. Lamps glowed in windows, casting round pools of light on floors and tables. Shadows curved in arcs across surfaces, echoing the soft repetitions traced by human hands, in nature, and across time. Rivers curved in loops along their beds, hills formed gentle arcs along horizons, trees swayed in recurring spirals, leaves curled softly in the wind. Stars traced patient circles across the night sky. The moon cast its silver light over land and water. Pi rested in every fold, every curve, every repeated motion, threading continuity through the slow, unhurried rhythms of life. Even in the quiet hum of the world, Pi moved through the patterns of technology and invention. Instruments, machines, and digital devices traced arcs and curves with soft precision. Calculations unfolded in endless sequences, numbers tracing arcs, loops, and subtle spirals. Lamps glowed softly on desks. Shadows curved gently across floors and walls. Rivers shimmered in quiet loops, hills rose and fell in gentle repetition, trees swayed in spirals, leaves traced delicate curves, stars traced circles night after night, and the moon followed its calm, silver path. Pi rested in all of it, faithful, patient, invisible, threading continuity through the recurring forms of both human and natural life. In architecture, Pi threaded its quiet presence through domes, arches, bridges, and rounded structures. Its calm persistence rested in every curve, every soft fold, every repeated form. The moonlight traced arcs across walls and floors, stars traced circles across the night sky, and shadows moved softly in patient repetition. Wheels turned slowly, threads wove gentle loops, ropes braided arcs, bowls and vessels traced arcs in soft motion. Rivers curved in loops along their courses, hills traced arcs on horizons, trees swayed in quiet spirals, leaves bent in delicate loops. Lamps glowed softly, casting round pools of light, shadows curved gently, and manuscripts, printouts, and screens lay open, tracing subtle arcs in quiet repetition. Pi rested in all of it, threading continuity through the enduring rhythms of the world, calm, faithful, and present. In the quiet hours before dawn, Pi moved silently through the world, threading continuity through the cycles of night and day. Rivers shimmered in soft loops along their beds. Hills curved gently along horizons. Trees swayed in spirals, leaves curled softly in the wind. Stars traced circles above, moving slowly across the sky. The moon cast its silver light over land, water, and quiet villages. Lamps glowed softly in windows, pools of round light resting on floors and tables. Shadows curved in arcs, echoing the motions of rivers, hills, leaves, and stars. Bowls and vessels traced arcs, threads wove gentle loops, baskets folded subtle curves, wheels turned slowly, ropes braided soft arcs. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every repeated form, faithful, calm, and invisible, threading continuity through the unhurried rhythm of life. Through centuries, through technologies, through every unfolding of human curiosity, observation, and creation, Pi persisted in quiet constancy. It traced arcs in stone circles, curves in pottery, circles on parchment, folds in manuscripts. It rested in mechanical devices, in calculating machines, in computers, in digital sequences. It followed rivers, traced hills, swayed in trees, curled in leaves, moved silently with the stars and the moon. Bowls and vessels, threads and ropes, wheels and baskets, all carried the quiet life of Pi. Lamps glowed softly, shadows curved in gentle repetition, manuscripts and screens lay open. Pi threaded continuity through all of it, calm, faithful, enduring, invisible yet present. Even as the world moved with increasing speed, Pi remained constant, patient, and gentle. It threaded softly through every motion, every fold, every curve and repetition. Rivers curved in gentle loops, hills traced soft arcs along horizons, trees swayed in spirals, leaves curled delicately, stars traced patient circles across the night sky, and the moon cast silver light over land and water. Bowls, vessels, baskets, threads, ropes, and wheels traced arcs in repeated motion. Manuscripts, printouts, and digital screens lay open, tracing numbers, arcs, and curves. Pi rested in all of it, threading continuity through the quiet rhythms of the world, faithful, calm, and present, a companion that had always been there. In the gentle stillness of night, Pi moved silently through the recurring cycles of life. Shadows curved in arcs across floors and walls. Lamps glowed softly. Rivers shimmered in quiet loops. Hills rose and fell in gentle repetition. Trees swayed in spirals. Leaves bent in delicate arcs. Stars traced circles across the night sky. The moon cast its calm, silver light over rivers, hills, and cities. Bowls, vessels, baskets, wheels, threads, ropes, and instruments traced arcs, folds, and curves. Manuscripts and screens lay open, numbers tracing subtle arcs in patient repetition. Pi rested in every motion, every fold, every gentle repetition, threading continuity through nature, human invention, and observation, calm, faithful, enduring, invisible yet present. As the night deepened and sleep settled quietly, the world moved slowly, arcs repeated softly, rivers shimmered gently, leaves curled, trees swayed, hills traced patient forms, stars traced circles, the moon moved in its calm path. Lamps glowed softly, shadows curved in gentle repetition. Bowls, vessels, threads, wheels, baskets, and ropes traced arcs, folds, and loops. Manuscripts and screens rested quietly, numbers folding into subtle repetitions. Pi remained faithful and calm, threading continuity through the unhurried rhythm of life, a quiet companion through all time, always present, always gentle. If you would like to drift into more gentle journeys like this one, you are welcome to subscribe and return anytime for calm and rest.